Today I'm going to be talking about probably one of the weirdest cameras I own. It's Polaroid camera, specifically it's Spectra camera, which it's alright. Personally I prefer if it was 600. You can probably see it here. It is the Polaroid Macro 5. It's a very, very weird camera. Double handles on both sides. And overall just looks so freaky. This is an SLR camera, so when you look through the viewfinder, you're actually looking through the lens, which is quite rare for Polaroid cameras. Apart from the SX70, there aren't many others out there that do it. On top of that, you've got a lot more controls than you would with most other cameras. So you've got power, you can do left and right flash, because this has a left and a right flash, so you can choose either one or both of them, or have them completely off. You've also got a reset button, so that's for the exposure compensation and the flash. That will just basically put everything back to 2 flashes, no exposure compensation. Then you've got exposure compensation, of course, so overexposure and underexposure. And you've also got a date stamp, so you can put any date, any sort of configuration. So time, you can do sort of minutes, hours, then you can do day, month, year. I generally have that off just because I'm not a big fan of having it on Polaroid pictures. And you've also got your window to tell you how many frames you've got left. So I'll turn this thing on. Apart from the battery in the film pack, also takes a bunch of batteries in the handle. So 4 batteries in the handle, which is good because you can sort of test it, but I'm always a little bit worried that they're going to leak and cause me a bit of problems later down the line. But I'll turn it on, you can have a look, see sort of what it does. When you turn it on, it makes this really weird noise. So it sounds like a medical device, because in all honesty it is a medical device. It was made for sort of professional use in hospitals or dentist practices or sort of police work. There were previous iterations of Spectra camera that had macro functions. This was kind of a combination of that. Other thing about it is that for focusing you have this here and this here, which when you turn it on sends out sort of a beam of light. You can see those lighting up, and they will essentially, it gives you, yeah, there you go, so quite a bright light. That will essentially give you a rangefinder. You'll get a light from the top and a light from the bottom that you can see. Let's see if I can get it to show up. So there you go. Kind of looks like you're going to be shot or something like that. It's always a little bit weird, but when you move it further away or move it closer, the lines cross, and when the dots meet, that's when you're in focus, and you can also tell that from looking through the viewfinder. So that's a really nice feature, sort of, you know you're in focus, but that will change depending on which level of magnification you're on. So this is the Polaroid Macro 5. There's also a Polaroid Macro 3. This essentially has 5 different focusing options, as you can see up here. So you've got 0.2 times magnification, so that's 52 inches or 132 centimeters. It's alright. I've tried it for a couple of portraits. It's not great. It's very, very compressed, so it's quite a long lens. You've also got 0.4 times, which is 26 inches or 66 centimeters. Then you've got 1 to 1, so 1 times magnification. That's 10 inches or 25 centimeters, so quite close. That's what I was set on when I was doing this. So you can see here to here, not very far and focusing. You also then have a 2 times magnification, which is here. So that is 5 inches to 13 centimeters, and then finally you've got 3 times magnification, which is 3 inches to 8 centimeters, which is kind of crazy. There. So the sort of macro shots you can get with this are insane. It's pretty much, if I get Spectra Film, then I'll put it in this because it's so much more fun to shoot with. Just doing really, really close-ups that you can't really do with any other camera. Well, Polaroid camera. Each time you rotate it, it is changing the lens, so you get a different lens each time. So if you look here, you'll see that as I spin the dial, it changes the lens, and it will change the light sort of focusing system, just so it will change where the lights are pointing each time. So different lens for each one. If memory serves, the sort of furthest away you can focus is equivalent to about f32, and as you go down, the aperture will get smaller and smaller, as it does with sort of when you're doing macro. And then when you get down to the 3 times magnification, you're looking at an f100 lens, which is alright, but shutter speed is fixed on this camera. So you kind of, I think it's about 60th of a second, which is alright, but it means you need the flash. The other option is you've got a PC sync input here, so you could link it up to a bunch of strobes or something like that and fire it off that way. Your issue then is you have to be metering for f100, which isn't ideal. But nice to have the option, as most other Polaroid cameras don't have that at all. So this has an empty pack of film in it at the moment. It is Spectra Film, which is wider. As I said before, I'd prefer it if it was 600, just because I prefer the square images. And also, Spectra Film's very, very hard to get at the moment. From what I've heard from people, Polaroid are having issues, Polaroid Originals are having issues making the film. There's an issue with the pods, but I don't know if that's 100% true. So I've ordered some at work, but it's taking a very, very long time to get through. I think it's been about 3 or 4 months. So I haven't actually shot with this camera in a very long time, which is sad because it is a very, very good camera. It's not really one that you can go out and shoot with. People will give you very funny looks, even just shooting this around the house with my family. They have no idea sort of what I'm doing, or why I'm using this. The 2-handle thing, it's nice for sort of macro work, it's very, very useful, but it feels very cumbersome, and as you can probably hear from this video, it creaks a lot, because it's all plastic, whole plastic body, so there's a little bit of flexibility in it, and it kind of makes it feel weak. You've got no strap lugs, so you can't carry it around very easily unless you want to walk around carrying it like this all day. Yeah, it's as big as my head, and I've got quite a big head. It's as big as my head, if not slightly bigger, because of the depth, so that's kind of a downside, I guess. But if you want to do macro work with Polaroid, this is one that I would highly, highly recommend. If you can find them, they occasionally go up on eBay. I found this one on eBay from a seller in Northern Ireland. I think it cost me about £60. But I think they're sort of gaining traction slowly. I know Joey from Awesome Cameras did a sort of video on this and has talked about it before. I think a lot of people are kind of realising that it's a unique camera, to say the least. Just the features it has and what it can do. There aren't many Polaroid cameras that can do that, and it's just, yes, fun to use. I'll show you what it sounds like when it takes a picture. So, for all intents and purposes, the ejection motor is quite loud on it. But this one I got, actually, I didn't realise, but when I got it, opened it up, and it's got a Impossible Project sticker in it. So I assume that means it's been refurbished, or at least looked at by Impossible, which was quite nice to know. I didn't want to buy sort of a dud, but it does have the sort of the cover for the film when it ejects, and I know that Polaroid Originals film is better than the early Impossible ones with sort of how it reacts to UV when it first comes out. But it's nice to have, yeah, just to know that it's there. So I'll take a picture. Let me focus. I'll focus on the camera. So you kind of have to get used to leaning in and out to get focused properly. That's about focused, and there we go. So not a subtle camera by any means, and then when you take a picture it will sort of give you a little bit of time before you actually can take a picture again, because it's charged up the flashes. It's actually very quick. From what I found, you can use it quite quickly after you've fired the flashes. You get sort of LED indicators for everything, so all your magnifications are up here, and then your exposure compensation, as you move it, a little LED moves up and down. And then I'll show you when you press the reset button. I'll turn the flashes off as well. So that's what, 2 flashes, left flash, right flash, no flash. Then if I click reset, it sets everything back to essentially 000. It's such a nice camera, and it's definitely a conversational piece. People look at it and don't believe you that it's a camera, but yeah, it's definitely one of the weirdest ones that I own. I'll stop talking and pop up a few photos, a couple of portraits, and mostly macro stuff, because that's what it's perfect for. And the macro stuff that I've got from it, very, very sharp, and sort of, yeah, really, really nice to see in a Polaroid camera. So yeah, I'll shut up and put some photos up that you can have a look at. That is the Polaroid Macro 5. Again, one of the weirdest Polaroid cameras I own. One of the weirdest cameras, just outright, that I own. Again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Like, subscribe, whatever. Yeah, hope to see you again soon. Thanks.